Good afternoon, everyone, and good evening. Welcome back to Broken, Not Shattered. We have a very exciting event tonight or show tonight with some young teenagers fresh off the boat, ready to give us their minds and and their thoughts about the struggles that teenagers face and everything else that comes along with it. So I am pretty excited, but let me just hit the intro button so we can start formally. It's going to be a show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Broken Not Shattered. This is your host, Ike Webily. It's going to be an exciting show this evening. Now, listen, I know some of you have been worried about why I took time off. After a while in life, you just have to shut down and get clear of your purpose or the vision. So I had been working on this thing for almost a year now, and I thought, okay, let me just take time and what I call re-engineer the process of the program so we don't miss the path and the purpose of why it was set up. So to bring back fresh blood and to start in a very youthful way, I have two excellent, perfect guests today. They are young ladies and they are both teenagers. Full disclosure, one is my daughter and one is my niece. But guess what? They're still young girls and they know what's going on and they're going to put it as it is. So, first of all, let me introduce my niece, the one and only, the beautiful Meso. Whoa, here you go, Meso and Chichi. How you go, guys? What's up?
Hi.
Hi, you guys are good to go?
Yes.
All right, so you're gonna feel free, have a conversation. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing. Let's start with Meso first, and then go to Chichi. All right, now remember, we have only 30 minutes for the entire show, so the clock is ticking. Go ahead, Meso. Tell us about you.
Hi. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Meso. I'm 15 years old. I'm going into my sophomore year of high school next week, actually. And I live here in Elkridge, Maryland. Yeah.
Awesome, great. And Chichi.
Hi everyone, my name is Chicho Webuli. I'm 15 years old and I'm going to my senior year in school. And I'm super excited to be on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being part of this great show. Now, listen, Broken Not Shattered is a show that was designed to talk about the challenges that people face, okay, and then give them words of encouragement to inspire them to overcome. Hence, when they went through the challenge or when they went through the trauma or whatever experience they had in their personal life, it was a time of brokenness, right? But though you're broken, they were not shattered. Remember the nursery rhyme? Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had what? Had a great fall, right? And so his all these pieces were all over the place. Well, this is the good one. That what happens is after a while you're broken, but you're not shattered because God, through His Son Jesus Christ, has a way of actually strengthening us as human beings. So I'm going to start with you, Chichi, since you're the one in high school, uh, and you can shed some more light on this. Tell us, what are the biggest challenges young girls or teenagers your age? Because this topic is teenage talk. What are the big challenges that you guys face on a regular basis as teenagers?
Well, I feel like obviously, first and foremost, like every teenage girl is different. Obviously, like depending on where they go to school, like their environment is going to be all different. But I feel like generally, a high school is a time specifically for teenage girls to like find out who they are, like what they like and things like that. It's a kind of like a transitional time, like, especially before you go to college, to kind of figure out where you are in life. And I feel like now, especially these days, I feel like any teenage, not even girl, like child can really like say like it's very hard to like keep up with the trends in school. And I feel like well, my school personally, we don't have a lot of bullying, but bullying can also be a big thing. And yeah, I feel like those are the top problems that I feel like I'm running now.
So I hear you mentioned keeping up with the trends. And when you're talking about trends, is this just a fashion, or is it just the trends generally on social media? And then you talked about bullying. You talked about trying to find yourself, and that's what I call self-identity, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So those are the big challenging areas. Mesa, what do you think? Do you agree with Chichi?
I do agree with Chi Chi completely. Yeah. Sometimes the teenage girls around us, they want to follow each other, what they see other people doing, because they don't have their own identity. So they want to follow other people and see what other people are doing. That's like following the trends, hairstyles, clothes, bags, purses, all of it, shoes. They just want to follow each other because they don't know who they are. Sometimes they just tend to not know who they are.
So what is this? Is this a question of the blind following the blind, or is it a question of everyone trying to belong into the same community? Really, when you say they're trying to follow, is this mimicking exactly what you see, or just being part of the trend itself?
I feel like it's a bit of both. Like, I feel like definitely, like for example, like you see a lot of like wealthy like kids and wealthy like you see all the nice materialistic things and you're like, oh, I want this and I want that and stuff like that. But I feel like also it's like if specifically in your school you see like one popular girl, you kind of want to be like her. Some people, personally, not me, you want to be like her, you want to like dress like her. And I feel like also there's this heavy stigma like for girls especially to have a certain body type and like wear certain clothes and things like that. So it's really just hard trying to find yourself and trying to figure out where you fit in. That's I feel like high school is that really that time for you where you feel like you either go like in the right direction, which is like what you want to do and how you want to pursue it, regardless of what everyone says to you, or like following someone else. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you either you create your own style, your own trend, or
Yeah.
you follow someone else.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
following doesn't necessarily mean bad. Like I feel like everyone, not even kids, follow trends. You know, like when you want to be trendy, buy a certain pair of shoes or something like that. Just to keep up with the style. You know, so,
yeah, certain pair of shoes. That's a
certain pair of
conversation
shoes.
you and I have to have later. But yeah, okay. So Bissell, talk to me. Is that the same thing you're seeing also in your own school? Chichi's in boarding school. You're in day school. Is it the same pressure too?
It tends to be the same thing, but personally, where I'm around, it's not the same thing. There are girls who put down other girls for not following the same trends. There are girls who they have a clique where everybody looks the exact same in like body type, hair, clothes, shoes.
Wow.
So, and when someone has been friends with them, they tend to want to follow them. They see these girls and they're like, I want to be like them. I want to be their friend. So they push themselves and do things to themselves to try to be like them. So yeah.
And so did the girls now pick you and say, "Hey, Meso, you look the part. You want to become one of our friends?" And then they drag you into their so-called clique. Is that what it is?
They have tried, but but like when you see sometimes some people they can see from the outside what it makes people to be, and you're like, I don't want to be like that, so you stay away from it. But some people, they're saying they have the mindset where they want to be like that, so they push themselves into being like that.
Wow, this is a lot of. This sounds like a lot of pressure. I'm gonna bring in my co-host Obi, who is back in Nigeria. I guess his own experience might be something different from what you guys are facing here in the U.S. But I guess teenagers everywhere are just the same struggle. So, how does one find their identity then? How do you now break out, guys, and say, you know what? I see what everyone is doing, as cool as it might be. Me taking this path can bring pressure on me and pressure on my parents. Because what happens is, if you start looking for all the Nikes, which is not a bad thing to have, but if you can't afford it, then it becomes a real stressful thing. Um, where do you go from there? Do you just say to yourself, you know what? I don't have to have every pair of Nikes that come out. I don't have to send my father or my mom a message and say, Dad, Mom, I want $600 worth of Nikes because that's what everyone is wearing. That puts pressure on your parents. Where do you find the balance here? Chichi, hey, say something. While you guys are talking, I'm bringing in Obi.
I think just I feel like sometimes
Woo!
we want, but then you have to figure out like what you really need. And I feel like sometimes like it's important to get what you need. Like if I rather get like those $20 pair of shoes, or like if I can use that money towards something else. Obviously, knowing what your family circumstances, and it'll be more beneficial to get whatever that you need, and you kind of just go from there. And I feel like in my school personally, like Messama was saying, like they have like cliques and stuff like that, but everyone in our school wear uniforms, so we all kind of look the same. So we don't really have that issue of like cliques and stuff like that. But like I will say, in terms of like keeping up with the trends, I feel like it's just kind of like what you want to do. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like
So are you saying I grew up in a school where I had to wear uniform from my first year to the end of high school. I wore uniform, and I can see the pressure that took away from us. But outside of the issues of uniform, there's still some guys that were on the campus. I happen to be one of them. That were feeling like cool guys themselves, right? And everybody else wanted to become of that clique. So where does the person find the identity? What makes you say, you know what, I know who I am? Is it your relationship with Jesus Christ? Is it what your parents have told you at home? Where do you find yourself, Meso? And then I'll ask Obi to put in some questions to you young girls.
When you find yourself, it has to be in Christ. If you find yourself in other things worldly, you're not gonna actually find yourself, because it has to be in Christ. That's the only way you can really find your identity. You can't implant yourself into the things of this world and say, okay, yeah, this is how I want to be, this is how I want to live. So it has to be in Christ.
Because everything else outside of that is it's so fickle. It's so temporary. There's no substance to it. But Chichi, then you're in a school where there's where you have a mixed community of people. If you start, how do you conduct yourself? Do you shy away and say, "Oh, I don't want to be seen as a Bible basher," and then you hide your identity, which is your identity is in Christ, or do you just say, "You know what? I'm not going to push my faith on people, but I'm going to show them that I'm just a cool chick on my own. I don't have to do all the crazy things you guys are doing, and just because of my relationship with Jesus Christ." How do you handle it? How do you handle that pressure?
Me personally, I would never like force my faith on anybody, but people definitely know, like in school, they know I'm Christian. Like they can tell by the way, like we have certain discussions in class, and I always talk about like my faith. Depending on if someone says they don't believe in it, I'll definitely still talk about what I believe in. But for me personally, I feel like my personality, not to like hype myself up, but I feel like I really have a good personality. It's like a lot of people just genuinely like, want to be around me because I just produce so much good energy and good vibes that people like. I don't really care about what you're wearing or what you're dressed like. I feel like me and my friends around me, we all just have the same good energy. Just wants best for everyone around me. So people who are around me just generally radiate like goodness. I'm not worried about the trends or whatever like that. If that makes sense.
Awesome, Obi. I just saw your message. You said peer pressure all the way.
Yes, it's peer pressure. Well, before I say something, I just want to say, Chichi and Meso, nice seeing you guys. I am just so happy. Seriously, you guys are welcome.
Thank you.
How you
Thank you.
doing?
Fine.
Good.
Thank
Good. Any questions for
Seriously,
the
it's an
young lady?
interesting one here. Yeah, forgive me. I want to sing a song in respect to what we're discussing.
Okay.
You know,
Is it Buga?
I don't want anybody to laugh, but I just want you to enjoy it. I'll sing it in the local dialect or however we'll sing it there. So when we left the other side and we came out, when we got born again,
Right.
you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So there is this song we started singing when we joined Thunderbolt. There is this song Thunderbolt sing. It goes this way. Ịba n'ime bushi kpọrọ nwa kọtụ sevam ọ bụ ya ka ma ewo ịba n'ime bushi kpọrọ nwa kọtụ sevam ọ bụ ya ka ma hallelujah. You understand? No, what,
Right.
what does that mean?
So what? Hold on before
We
you.
decided to set
Obi,
a
hold on.
trend.
Obi, hold on before you go to it further, because the girls are. Obi used to be a gangster. What he's telling you that he used to be a gang. He used to be a gangster.
Ah,
Obi used to be a gangster
yes.
before you saw the light. Go ahead, Obi. Go ahead.
So you know what? You know how we defeated the peer pressure thing is this. We decided to be the ones to set the trend.
Yeah.
So we now set the trend. So the trend, Christ should be the trend. We now have to make it trend for you to be the the happening guy means you're that nice dressing guy with the Bible. You're
Right.
that,
So
you're that happening
it's
guy
cool to
that
be it's cool
preaches
to be a
Christ.
Christian. So it's cool to be a Christian,
It's cool
basically.
to
That's
be
what
a
it is.
Christian. Like if you're
That's
not a
right. Yeah.
Christian, you're darling.
It is. It is. It
You know
is.
that you're the fine girl. You're the fine girl that is preaching Christ. You're a fine girl.
Right.
You're not preaching Christ. You're
Yeah.
not there.
Okay.
You get. You're a fine girl and you're still having something to do with social vices. You're
Uh,
not there. You're the
you're right.
fine girl that exonerates herself from social vices and things like that.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
see,
Okay.
listening to Chichi and Meso talk about Christ, it makes me feel so excited. Honestly, one of the things that pushed us away was that peer pressure. Because we thought there were people setting the trend for us. We just want to be like them.
Yeah, you want
But
to be like.
seeing that we have younger ones who feel I can't be pressured by that. And at the same time, I'll give it to our families and our respective homes. I give it to our fathers, I give it to our mothers who took their time to ensure that they set a foundation for us. And this is all about foundation. Believe me,
I completely
Chichi
agree
and
with you.
Meso, you guys wouldn't be talking about this if that foundation wasn't set right for you guys. And i
I
just i just
completely
hope
agree with
that
you.
there are families. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I said I completely agree with you that it's all based
Yes.
on the foundation. So let me ask the girls the question.
Yes.
No, this is their talk. Chichi,
Yeah,
I think you
please.
need to bring your phone down a little bit. We're getting all the ceiling and we're missing all the part of. There you go. There you go. That's perfect. Awesome. So that's just me being daddy. That's daddy role right there. So I know. Sorry. Okay, let's talk about foundation. What role do you think your parents played in the foundation that you have? And be honest and sincere. Who wants to go first? Misso.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that my both of my parents they have they have made a rock solid foundation for me. Like if I didn't grow up in a home where we already knew Christ, where my both of my parents grew up with Christ in their household, I probably wouldn't know Christ as well as I do today. And so I
Yes.
think that they definitely, the way they raised us and what they tell us every day, it helps and it shows us who we want to be, who we want to grow up to be,
Yes.
how we want to raise our own
Yeah.
children in the future.
Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with myself, Matt. Even as well as like our parents' experiences and how like what they've experienced and how they told us like to shy away from the things that the wrongs that happened to them and kind of want to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes that they did and stuff like that. So that's all important.
Yeah.
So how about when your
And
parents? How about when your parents preach Christ to you and they fall short? What does that do? I mean, because at the end of the day, we imitate the things we see at home, right? The things that we see in TV are cool, but at the end of the day, it's what we see at home that helps. But how about when your parents
yes.
fall short? When your parents don't meet that mark, what do you now do, ladies? How do you now respond to that? Or how do you see us as parents when we fall short? Chichi, this is for you, because dad is always
Um,
short.
I feel like if any of your parents like fall short, I feel like in some aspect you kind of see like okay they're falling short. You kind of see like you don't want to make the same mistakes or you don't want to be like that. Personally, my parents have never fallen short with Christ with me. I feel like definitely they've not forced, but they've like implemented like I'm Christian and like the godly ways. But I feel like at a certain point in time in your life, it kind of like it's just like your opportunity to now get to know Christ in your own way. Because like growing up, I went to church every time, but now in school, like this morning, I joined church online because I wanted to. You know what I mean? It's not because my mom called me, told me to join church. You kind of like
Good one.
start your own like ways and stuff like that from what your parents have taught you.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Mister. And you?
Meso, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I
Because
do.
yeah, that was what was on my mind. I had wanted to ask, aside the foundation being set for you, were there a time when you were able to understand the foundation to take your focus away from your parents who laid the foundation for you, to understanding the foundation, to say, okay, whether my parents decide to, continue with this foundation or not, I've come to understand this foundation and nothing pulls me away from that. So what I see is the foundation, which is authentic, and not my parents who have shown me the foundation. I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to say. Until you
Yeah.
get to that point where you understand the foundation, then that's when you can take any decision. Nothing, no pressure that comes at you that will, make you waver. I get that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
do
So,
understand.
Hold
so
on. Go
what
ahead.
has
Go ahead.
what has
Mr. Obi, hold on. Obi, Mr. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying that I do understand that.
You complete.
okay?
Okay, you agree with it. Okay, that's fine. Okay,
So
let's
so
go.
what
We'll take a break. Take a break. Okay, hold
okay,
on a second. Remember, we have only 30 minutes. We'll take a break
okay.
and then we'll come back and talk about parenting. I want us to discuss parenting, especially from
Mm.
the African perspective. See you guys in a minute.
Spare,
We're
spare the
back in a minute.
rod. Spare the rod.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Broken Not Shattered. Um, my host today are two young ladies. Obi is obviously my co-host. You guys know him. Two young ladies based out here in the United States. Meso and Chichi. Chichi is actually speaking from her dorm
Mm.
in high school where she goes to school. What's the middle school, Chichi? You don't have to say it. Don't worry. No plugs for them. But that's right. Yes, it's nice school, and we're just talking about having finding their identity and the challenges that they face in that identity crisis as young girls. Now, let's talk about parenting. We talked about initially with your parents falling short or your parents not doing their own part, right? Or when they've actually done their own part, you guys take over and run from that perspective. How? What's the difference you guys see in the way you were raised and the way most of your friends who are not from the same part of the world demographically are being raised? What do you think about parenting?
So coming to a boarding school, I don't think I understand. It has taught me so much. Call my mom and my dad together, tell them like I'm so grateful for the way you guys raised me. Because coming to a boarding school, you kind of see how sometimes people, the way that they move and the
Say that again slowly now, Chichi, and audible so everyone can
oh
hear what you
sorry,
said.
sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
just good. Yeah.
Coming to a boarding school, I used to call my mom and my dad all the time and tell them how grateful I am for the way that they raised me.
Say that again. Say that again.
Oh.
I beg, for the way that they raised me because you really see how children or kids or girls specifically are sometimes can be very like not crazy but because they're not used to like certain things and how they like their parents have a strong chokehold on them they kind of act like very irrational all the time and they act like they have no home training sometimes because I guess their parents were either too tight on them explain it. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And you, myself?
I agree with Chichi completely because I've seen from like people surrounding me and around me, I've seen that when they have like, I guess you can call it strict, very strict parents that say like, can't do this, can't do this, can't wear this, can't do that. They get more secretive, they hide more, they they hide from the parent. They don't tell their parents as much because they know how their parents are going to react like in a very strict and like stubborn way. And so I actually have an example. So one of my friends actually she was in the school bathroom. She was changing her clothes. I said, "Oh, why are you changing? Like we don't have gym till last period." She said, "Oh, because my mom didn't want me to wear this, but I want to wear it." And then
Mm.
I was like, "Oh." So I was like, okay, so her mom didn't want her to wear this, so she came to the school bathroom to change into it to
Yeah.
wear that.
So are you saying that if her mom should have allowed her to wear what she wants to wear, or is I mean, who do you blame for that? Actually, is it the
I
parent?
think that it's because she's already a secretive person, so it's like the parents having a more strict hold on her and like not letting her do this and that, wear this and that. If her parents was like, "Oh, you can't wear this," and it came from an understanding point. But when because she lives in a household where it's like she said it's like more strict and it's like very like uptight. She's like, she knows like ways to hide and get secretive and do all this and do all that.
See, one of the guys who was watching us online just sent in a message and said, "I used to do the same thing too." And he starts to laugh, ha 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 ha. And that's a young man, and I bet you he's doing almost the same thing. He said, "I used to do the same thing too." With chances
Okay,
are that maybe he's changed his ways and he doesn't do the
definitely,
same thing again. I think when your
definitely,
parents actually tell you not to wear something, it's not because they're trying to cramp your style, right? Is because they're trying to protect you from putting yourself in a very vulnerable position that you can't see it at that young age. That's one. Now, also, I know that some parents are very funny and very um, heavy-handed in the way they raise their children. I think there should be a balance in that. I can't tell anyone how to raise their children. I've raised two daughters, and I think we've done a great job, myself and their mom, in raising them. In the sense that you could tell them not to wear this and explain to them why you want not to wear that. If you have a good
definitely.
relationship with your kids and that
Yeah,
communication level is open, they will talk to you
yeah,
about anything. They will talk to you
yeah,
about their boyfriends or their girlfriends. They'll talk to you about their struggles in school. They'll talk to you about their academics. They don't have
yeah,
to struggle. If a child is going to struggle to go to the bathroom, then you can have that conversation with your parents and say, "Hey, why?" Now I know that some parents also are very heavy-handed when it comes to their religious beliefs, and they will say, "Oh, you can't do this because that's the way we're raised." Well, if that's
yeah,
the way you were raised in Timbuktu, or you were raised somewhere back in the back streets of Ajegule, but now
yeah,
you're in America, and the difference is very clear. So you have to find a balance where you can actually tell your child that, hey, this is what you not acceptable, and this is what is acceptable with reason, and you explain
yeah.
those things to them. I don't know. What does anyone have to say?
I
I
agree.
think, yeah, I think that's one of the peculiar things with the African parents. You know, when sometime that was after my before my dad died or so. I had an issue with my mom and I had to open up. Today, my mom is my best friend and we rap well. But then we had serious issues, and I had to tell her that one of the reasons why we couldn't confide in her was um, her manner of approach. What was that approach our parents gave us? They could tell you not to do this without explaining. And they feel they don't owe you any explanation. That's the African parent. They feel we don't owe you any explanation. You
But
just
Obi,
have
do
to
they?
do
But
it.
Obi, the
Why?
question is, do they owe us an explanation? Do they owe us an
Of,
explanation? If I
Yes.
tell Chichi, if I tell Chichi not to do something, do I really owe Chichi an explanation? Yes or no? I mean, the
uh,
the, 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 the floor is open for anyone
let,
to speak.
yes. So let's be clear. You to an extent we owe them an explanation, and I will explain why.
Okay.
Now, the reason is this: I need to understand what I am getting wrong
Exactly.
because there are two forces acting on me. One is coming from the peer, one is coming from my parents, on whom. Now, if my parents will not tell me the truth, my peers will tell me the false truth in love, because they will not just tell me to do this, but they will give me a definition of why we are doing this, which seems so pleasing. But now it is on my parents to tell me the reasons why I shouldn't do this and the dangers in it, so I will understand well. But like
Wow.
those days, I can
Wow.
imagine a mother telling there was something my mom say, a man and a woman does not work together. Oh.
Mm,
Simple.
mm,
Why? No explanation.
mhm. Okay.
My mom would say, if a man and a woman goes out together, the woman will get pregnant. How? And then when you meet your peers, they will say, okay, let's try it. Come work with me. You guys walk out and then come back. And then they ask you, are you pregnant? You're not pregnant. So you now see your parents as to, and by the time you have that impression, you now begin to keep secrets and begin to confide in your friends. So I
All
feel
right.
to an extent owe them explanation, and we need to drive it into them to understand.
Okay. Obi has a point. Ladies, you agree with Obi that the
100%.
parents?
And I feel like
Okay.
the worst thing a parent can do is like scold you and not give you the explanation why. Because you just scolded me and didn't tell me what the reason, like what I did wrong and what I shouldn't do next time.
Yeah.
Luckily, dad, my mom never like she scolded us and didn't tell us why. That's why we're able to like know what to do without coming to you guys. That's why we kind of know, oh, we shouldn't wear this and we shouldn't wear that. Because you guys have already like instilled that in us that we shouldn't do it. That's
Okay,
why.
welcome. I have a question. Someone says, um, why are people in your generation very impatient with things around them? Okay, Mister, you have a big smile on your face. You go first. Why are you guys so impatient? Or why
The
does it not?
Generation Z.
Okay.
Why are you guys on speed or something? I mean, why are you impatient?
I'm
Their speed
laughing
is as
because
fast as the speed of light.
I tend to be impatient a lot actually, but I think the reason why we are impatient is because I think maybe because we I think we sometimes we have our standards and expectations of when maybe things should come, when things should be happening, and when our expectations are let down, like we get upset or we get like angry about it, or sometimes we're just used to getting, I guess you could say, our way in situations. We're just used to our way or what we want happening. So when we don't get our way, we start getting upset and patient. Why is this not happening? Why is this? Why am I not getting this?
Is that the right thing though?
No.
So what is the right thing? Talk to your peers. Be sincere. What would you say? They're listening to you now, and some of them are going to watch it later on. So what would you say is the best way to deal with this issue when you get impatient?
When you get impatient, when I get impatient, I ask God for patience because I know I'm getting impatient, and when I get impatient, I get really upset. So I ask God, like, please provide me with patience, because, like, we don't we don't have a right to everything in this world and in general. Like, our name isn't written on something. Like, we don't have a right to everything and everywhere. So you just really need to just wait because we're gonna be doing a lot of waiting.
Okay, so let me piggyback on that before I get Chichi to say something. You just said that your generation is get very eager to have things happen, and they don't really wait. How about for the person who doesn't know God? Who do they ask for? I know you said you tell God, God give you patience, but there's someone listening to this. They don't know God. They haven't got that relationship that you have. We can't take it for granted that everyone has. So what do you expect them to do? Chichi,
Um.
Messi, anyone?
Oh, Chichi can go.
Okay. I just wanted to say like, kind of. I don't disagree with Mesoma, but I just feel like personally our generation, while we're so impatient, I feel like because we're always on go, like we always want to get things done, and I feel like it's not necessarily that we always want our way. It's just that we're always like we're ready to do something or get something done. I don't know if that makes sense. So I feel like if you're very impatient, I feel like you need to relax, like just relax and understand that there's a reason why. Like, oh, okay, well you said not in God. Um, I guess just relax and just wait your turn. There's not much you can do. Like personally for me,
Okay, so what else do you tell the? I mean, it's going to be difficult for you to get yourself around it.
yeah.
What do you now tell the young lady or young guy who is impatient and is not in Christ? What do you say to them?
Relax. Just
Like just relax, just wait your turn. Because obviously, like if you're being impatient and it's still not coming, you being impatient is not going to change anything. They might as well wait.
the situation is the situation and you can't
Yeah.
change it.
Especially
So,
like
this is where I agree with you guys on the situation. The situation. I think one thing I've learned in life is that anything that you force is not worth having. Sometimes you can work hard for something. Don't get me wrong, you can work hard for something, but you can't force things because when you force anything, you're gonna break something. It's simple.
Yeah.
It's just the way life is. It's just the just life. If you're trying to screw in something and it's not going in, check it. Most likely, it's not the right screw or it's
Yeah.
not the right hole that is going into. If you force it, you're gonna break something. You understand?
Yeah.
And vice versa. It could be a relationship, right? You're forcing a relationship. If you keep on forcing that relationship, trust me, it's not worth having because it's not going to chance. It's not going to work. I think you should sometimes let things happen naturally and put your trust in God, like you guys actually said. Um, I don't want to keep you guys longer than the 30 minutes, which I already have. Um, but
Can I ask one last thing?
any, sorry. What did you say?
And can I ask one last thing?
Yes, please, please.
Can I
Make
ask
it
one
short.
last thing?
Yes, you can. Sorry.
Okay, okay, just for Chichi and Meso. I'm beginning to see this as fathers and daughters timeout. You know, um, I have a daughter too, and I'm seeing in the nearest future me and my daughters having such time. Now, this is my question, please. Now that we are having this discussion, maybe we can take home as fathers to say, okay, this is what we've gotten from this discussion to improve on what we are offering. Is there anything you feel, is there a certain thing you feel, okay, it would have been better if we have received it this way from our fathers? I want you now. I want you now to try to advise us as
As
fathers.
men, as fathers,
Yes, as
not
yes,
not
as
not
fathers.
not to your mothers now, because we know your mothers do excellent
No,
work.
yeah, not to your mothers. Yes, let the mothers be, but as your fathers, this is why we've stayed away. But how wish you people have done it this way, so that we can learn, or we can take home to say, okay, going forward, for those of us that are not here, this is how best we can handle our daughters to make it easier for them.
Someone's phone is ringing.
Sorry, sorry.
Good.
I personally think in some way, like fathers, like
Software. Congratulations. Congratulations.
I'm gonna mute you,
Sorry.
Obi. If you can mute yourself.
I'm good, please. I'm good, please.
Go ahead.
okay,
Sorry about that.
Sorry, please.
That was Obi's wife calling Obi.
That was my wife. Sorry, please.
I was gonna say I feel like in some way fathers kind of rely on mothers. Like I feel like there's so much opportunity for you guys to be more involved. I don't know, like I feel like in some ways fathers sometimes like, oh, like the mother and the child. I feel like sometimes if someone, I feel like more times the child gravitates more to the mother. Obviously because like girls, we can relate, blah 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 blah. I feel like personally, if like dad, for example, like I feel like in some certain way in my life, I feel like if you got more involved in certain situations, like I feel like our relationship might have been better, or like we have a good relationship, of course, but I feel like I could have leaned on you more for certain things and stuff like that. And I also just feel like don't be afraid to get involved. As well as like sometimes you guys come with this very like strong, very like like that, or like persona, and I just feel like sometimes like if you ease into certain things, like you would get like a better reaction out of us. Like there's so many times like I feel like my dad came very strongly in certain situations, but I feel like if you just like listened to what I was saying, like without being disrespectful to me, or like I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to him, then the argument or the conflict could have been resolved easier, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Okay, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank
I was gonna ask for more in depth, but let me just clear myself before you slaughter me in public. But that's fine. Okay, Miss Saba, go ahead. Talk to your own dad or whoever.
I agree with Chichi completely, because I think that sometimes fathers in general, they come off more intense. Like let's say they're asking you a question, they will pound that question with another question and saying, "Oh, why aren't you answering?" Keep on pounding and pounding and pounding.
Yeah,
And keep on going. Like, give me a second and let me answer the first question. I think sometimes, I think maybe they just come off more intense and wanting a lot more in that second. I think maybe we we just, fathers in general, just need to take a second and listen to what your daughter or your son is saying. Just listen to it. Take it, not just listen, take it into context and like understand what they're saying, not just to listen and understand what they're saying to you.
So
And
you're
I also
saying,
wait, Dad.
go ahead.
I encourage all fathers to really, really try and make a good relationship with your daughter, because like the kind of man that you are in your daughter's life is the kind of man that your daughter would go and marry, or like go on dates. You know what I mean? Or like if you're falling short in a certain aspect, like your daughter would know that you don't want a man like that. Or if you're doing well in her life, you're like, okay, I want a man kind of represents my father and what he stands for. So generally, that's a big up. Fathers generally really try and be there for your daughters, because then I know a lot of young ladies out there, when their dads are not present in their life, they go and start going to some type of certain man that they don't need in their life. But if their father was in their life, or their father was more present in their life, then all those things could have been avoided. You know?
Okay, so okay, go ahead, Mister. Go ahead.
I also want to add on to what Chidi said. She said something about how having a relationship and
Getting involved. Getting involved. What are you reading?
I was forgot what I was gonna say. It was something.
He said something like getting relationship and having involved, getting more involved.
Yeah, getting them involved. They tend to sometimes the girls they tend to like the girls, the daughters. They see how they see their father is how they see an example of how men are in the world, because they're going to go off to marry and get a husband and have start a family. That's how they'll see an example of the men in the world. And if they see like a bad character not right for them, they'll see like, oh, this is how men are in the world, like I don't want that. But when they see a good character, someone who's open to them, understanding, they will be more open to the other men in the world. And
And
obviously they shouldn't be too vulnerable to the other men in the world, but fathers can teach the daughter that.
and not just fathers, uncles, like brothers, any male figure in any girl's life.
Yeah.
For like males to females.
Okay, uh, l- l- I'm gonna extend this with my permission because it's my show, right? So yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course,
So,
of
so,
course.
this is a very sensitive topic for me.
Very,
As a
very.
dad, because there was a
Yeah.
time in my life when, um, after some challenges we had in our internal family, um, I left the country and I moved out of the country for a while. And I know that during that time I left, my daughters would never told me at the time, but later have told me in our conversation that that time I was away, they felt abandoned. Correct? They felt that dad wasn't there for them, that they felt abandoned. I knew I hadn't abandoned them because I thought I was talking to them on the phone. And that's the time that Chichi says, I wish you were more involved. So I'm being transparent and vulnerable because that's the whole idea of the program, right? So
Yeah.
now I have reconnected with them. I spend a lot of time with them when they're in town. They're in my place, at their mom's place at the same time. Um, and I get to talk more. I've been able to go to teaching school, so I'm trying to make up for that lost time. But I've realized that I can't. 2 years is gone. It's gone. There's no way I can get that time back. However, I can do better, like Mr. Man teaching have just advised other dads to move forward and improve. The question I now have as a father to you young ladies, right? And Obi's daughter is still young, so she's not speaking to him yet about this. But I
Yeah.
bet there'll be a time when she's going to bring it up.
But I'm getting something, fucking
Right.
things
Yeah.
now that will speak to her.
So the question now is, see, what do we do? You've told us what to do. Most of the times, most men don't know how to handle these issues. I'm being very transparent. It's not that we don't want to, we don't know how to start. Either we're struggling and hustling back wherever we are to make ends meet to support you
Yeah.
guys. Also, the father says to you, let me give you a true life example. A family member of ours, very close, um, went to his went shopping to buy a big television, right? And this big TV screen, they were at Best Buy and they're trying to buy a big TV. So the father picked up the very huge, massive 75-inch television or something like that, right? And he goes to his son. He said, "You see, do you like the TV?" The guy said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." He's young, right? The guy says he's a teenager. He said, "Yeah, I love the TV. Oh, this will do well for games." He said, "See, so when you don't see me at home and I'm out there working, I'm working to make money so you can have this big TV." Guess what the boy's response to his father? Father said, the boy said to his father, "I'd rather have you at home and have a smaller TV. I'd rather have you at home and have a smaller TV," which means the big TV that you're trying to get for me is not the ultimate. The ultimate for me is to have you at home, you know. But how about when dad can't be at home for whatever reason? How do we now? How do you guys? What do you want us to do at that time? You know, Because if he's not there and he's provided a roof over your head, he's gotten the home for you. You have a roof
Come on.
over your head. You're
Come
not
on.
sleeping in your car. You're not sleeping on you're not sleeping on the streets, right? Where does he come
Come
in
on.
into this whole thing? So you can have he feels like,
Yeah.
I'm doing what I have to do out of responsibility to make sure I'm responsible for my family, right? But in that process, he can't be at home. He can't be at home and also be at work at the same time. In some cases, like my case, I was out of the country. I couldn't be in Nigeria at that time. I couldn't be in the US at that time and at Nigeria at the same time. But my relationship, those 2 years in Nigeria had helped me now to become who I am in what I'm doing right now in America. So where do we find the balance, ladies? And this is the last part of it, and then we'll call it a wrap. And if you guys are okay, we'll bring you back again some other time, and then we can continue the conversation. Go ahead, both of you. Anyone, say something.
Should I start?
Yeah, start.
Okay. Well, I feel like in that situation, that's a whole different circumstance. Like if the father cannot be there, like he's working but like he's providing for you, and you have no reason to like, obviously I know like the personal connections and like you wanting to be there for him is important, but as well as like your well-being, if he's providing for that, then you have, I don't want to say you have no reason to complain, but like your complaints should be limited because he's doing what he has to do to provide for you. Okay. um but where my issue comes in is like if you are able to be in your child's life and you're not, that's an issue. I feel like sometimes we feel like, yes, fathers or mothers in general are always working, but like the time that you have off, I don't want to say like you're not entitled to your own breaks and stuff like that, but if you can call your child, if you can't physically be there, you can show up in other ways in your children's life. And
Okay,
like,
go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
oh, okay, it's okay.
You
Yes.
finished? Okay, Benson, go ahead.
Okay, so I agree with Chichi completely because I know that my dad, he can't be here in our house right now. And I understand, but I know that some other kids, they don't have the understanding that I have. And I know the situation, so like I understand and I have a relationship with my dad. But when a father has the opportunity to be in their child's life, but they choose not to, that's a different situation where that's on him. And the daughter and the son, or just the daughter in general, grows up to see men that way, like, oh, they can't,
Be
they don't,
trusted or
yeah, they
dependent
have
on.
trust issues. They don't know how to stick with their family because the father chose not to be with their family.
Wow. I think I want to applaud you myself for what you just said because I know your dad definitely is someone who definitely cares about you guys. So the fact that he's not here now is not because he doesn't want to be there. I can tell you he's working extremely hard to provide for you guys and ensure that you guys have everything that you need as a dad. I know him personally, so that's my brother. But at the end of the day, there's some people who don't have that kind of relationship you're referring to, and we're doing that. They will do their best. Me personally, I think if your children spell love TIM, that means the amount of time you actually spend with them makes them feel the amount of time that you actually love them. That's how children spell time. I also understand. I also know that our daughters are looking up to us as father figures to guide them in the right light and show them the true love that they need from any man. Because if that love is not there, they're going to go from man to man to man to man to man, seeking that love that only their father can give to them. Also, our sons are looking for that same love and affirmation and confirmation from us that no other man can give to them. If not, they will join the gangs. I was a member of that. I fell for that. And I don't even know why I fell for that because I came from a home where my dad was very, very present. I was always affirming us as young men. But I guess the peer pressure on university
Peer
campus and
pressure.
stuff, yeah, feeling like I'm a cool guy. I gotta go on this path, and I took that crazy road that I have no regrets for because that has shaped me to be the kind of guy that I am today. I'm rough around the edges, my daughter would tell you, but I'm still a very kind and straightforward guy, right? So at the end of the day, you know, these are the things that help us become who we are. So we are, on behalf of every father who's listening and who will listen later on, or those who will catch it on the other platforms that are not here. I just want to let you guys know that we appreciate fathers and everything fathers do. Also, we appreciate mothers and everything mothers do, parents, peers, right? But these teenage girls who are speaking on behalf of their peers are saying to us, we can do a little bit much more. And we will try our best to listen to what you guys have said and try our best to do much more. So I'm going to take a minute break. When I come back, last word goes to Chichi and Meso, and we'll wrap up the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, just hang in tight as we come back for our last leg of Broken Not Shattered. This has been an extremely great show. We've added extra 10 minutes to it. So I want to thank you guys for coming on board, Chichi. I know you got to go back to school. I got you have your homework to do. Neso, I know you're busy too. Actually, you're taking out your hair before I got you involved, but that's okay. Thank you for answering, Uncle Ike. I really appreciate this. All right, Chichi, talk to the girls in your circle and those and beyond at your age. And then after that, Meso will say the last, and Obi and I will say our goodbyes, and we're out of here.
Okay, hey girlies. Definitely, I just want to give you guys some word of advice. You know, I truly encourage you guys to find yourself. I know it's very hard in this time where all these trends and all these girls you want to be like. But once you know who you are and who you want to be like, you shouldn't worry about what everyone else thinks about you. I know it's hard to build that kind of confidence, but once you do, I know that you won't regret it. Never forget that you're beautiful inside and out, regardless of who tells you what or what the trends are saying. And just know that God loves you.
Thank you. Meso?
So all I have to say is follow the word of God. You are amazing. You're beautiful. Find out who you are in Christ, not in this world, not through people. If you notice that somebody around you is not doing the right thing, that you know it's not the right thing, don't follow it. Don't fall for it. If you have to walk your own path with no friends but Jesus, walk that path because it's gonna lead to something great.
Wow, what a friend we have in Jesus. I like that. Okay, Obi, last word. And then
Wow.
we're out of here.
I just want to thank you girls for honoring this invitation. It's been a very wonderful time with you. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Wow. And thank you on behalf of my co-host Obi Ginikawa, who's back in Lagos, Nigeria, Meso in Maryland, and Chichira in Pennsylvania. I just want to thank both of you, Chichi in Pennsylvania. I just want to thank both of you for actually coming on the show. Chichi, give me a call after this. Let's talk about this. Your $600 tennis shoes.
It's not $600. It's not $600. It's not $600.
Okay, all right, that's okay. I'm just joking with you. But thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to our show this evening. Like we normally will end the show, we wish you love, peace, and more grace. Take care,
Yeah.
and we hope to see you guys same time next week.